What's up everybody, I'm Kirk, and this is the State of the Boom, your monthly recap of FPS news, releases, and upcoming titles. And oh boy, 2026 is in full swing. This last February, we had a slew of releases and announcements and the unreal return of a classic by way of a dedicated fan base, as well as an epic sale that yours truly had a hand in. So, getting things started, forgive me, I do have a bit of a plug, but trust me, this will be of interest to the Boom Shoot fans. Starting on February 24th, Digifile kicked off their Boomer Shooter Blueprint sale, bundling 7 of the best Boom Shoots from the last 3 years for the price of one, $17. And yours truly helped them curate the sale, and I even put together a nifty video to go alongside it. The games bundled are Cultic, Incision, Sulaco, Mullet Mad Jack, I Am Your Beast, Beyond Citadel, and Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun. It's an insanely good deal. Alongside the Blueprint sale, they are also doing an Indie Spotlight sale, highlighting 4 Boom Shoots that have under 500 reviews on Steam and deserve a lot more attention. Those titles are Texnoplasm, Killbug, Hands of Necromancy 2, and Rack Reclamation. Purchasers also have the option to donate to the Whale and Dolphin Conservation for both sales, earning them bonuses like soundtracks, art books, and artwork made exclusively for this sale. At the time of this video's upload, close to $10,000 has been donated, which is incredible. The sale ends on March 10th, only a few days away at the time of this upload, so if you're interested, please use my link down in the description and in my pinned comment, and be sure to check out my video on it, also linked below. Alright, thank you for bearing with me, now let's talk about Unreal Tournament. Unreal Tournament fans were eaten good in February as Unreal Tournament 2004 was released for free, patched for modern hardware, and with servers up and running for some online fragging. Now, despite Epic Games abandoning the Unreal franchise, the freaking namesake of their engine, in favor of the monetized monstrosity that is Fortnite, they have, in recent years, given the Internet Archive permission to host all the Unreal games for free download, and given their blessing to the Unreal fan community to keep the games updated and running, which is where Old Unreal comes into play, a long-running fan initiative dedicated to keeping Unreal alive. Starting in February, they made Unreal 2K4 fully downloadable on their GitHub with a sizable community patch to allow the game to run on modern hardware. To be specific, what you are actually downloading from Old Unreal is an installer, which when run will download the Unreal Tournament 2004 disk image from their servers, or the Internet Archive servers as fallback, which then automatically applies the community patch. The process is very easy, just download and run the executable. No hoops, no headaches. They also have similar installers available for Unreal Tournament 99 as well as the original Unreal Gold specifically. I grew up on Unreal Tournament and pretty much devoured 2K4 throughout this last month. Old Unreal did a fantastic job, it plays perfectly. It's a little tricky to find a normal online game as most of them are modded, but that's its own fun rabbit hole. I even went as far as to download UT99 and Unreal Gold from Old Unreal's GitHub as well. Again, they play amazing. I'll always be irritated at Epic for letting Unreal Tournament go, and will always demand that they bring it back. But handing it over to the fan community is a good move in my opinion, especially since most publishers would not be as accommodating. It's a big win for gamers and game preservationists. If you've never had a chance to play these classics, please do so. They are timeless and deserve a comeback. Here's some cool news for a Boom Shoot favorite. It was announced that Nightmare Reaper, the retro-inspired roguelite looter shooter, is receiving a free multiplayer update on March 17th for the PC and console versions. Up to 4 players can take on the campaign in co-op, which includes the new Game Plus. Good old-fashioned deathmatch is also going to be included, where weapons randomize. Players will also be able to create their own custom game modes. Now, if you're a PC player that doesn't want to wait until the 17th, you can still access the multiplayer beta by visiting the Nightmare Reaper Discord. I have the link down in the description. The first Steam Next Fest of 2026 was held in February, and there were a ton of shooters on display. I initially was going to do a bigger demo roundup and feature as many FPS games as I could. But I'll be real honest, with the other videos I had to work on top of the fact that I'm in the process of moving into a new place, I plain didn't have the time for that kind of deep dive. So I didn't play all the demos, but I played as many demos as I could, picked the 5 I liked the most, wrote a little on each, and here they are. Also, as always, please share with me any demos you really liked down in the comments. FU Machine takes a lot of influence from the Tony Hawk series. You have a limited amount of time to not only decimate hordes of cubed enemies, but also complete specific challenges to earn a high score and skill points. This is one of those ones that probably won't be everyone's cup of tea, especially with the eccentric graphics and grungy electro soundtrack, but I thought it was awesome. I loved how pick up and play it was, and the overall vibe and strangeness of it was cool to me. Definitely had some cheap deaths in it, which were irritating, but maybe that's more of a skill issue and I need to get better at it. Luck Rot is a roguelite movement shooter with a unique premise. It's set in a dystopian future where you are participating in a violent live-streamed game show. I got a kick out of this. It leans hard into its concept, with a constant live chat on screen and your leveling tied to the subs you earn. There's an enjoyable slot machine upgrade system that was truly unpredictable and predatory, and the gameplay was decent. Not the best shooting I've experienced, but the movement felt good, the levels were varied with some goofy traps and obstacles, plus the earned weapons and abilities brought some good variety, making each run feel distinct. Tremin is a fairly straightforward boom shoot with a brutalist art style and Souls-ish mechanic where you have limited lives and can retrieve your gear after you bite the dust. The Quake fans are going to feel right at home with this one, and the stark art style and live system does bring some cool spice. Only downsides were some of the wonky enemy animations and questionable AI. Paperhead is a quirky movement shooter with a scoring system that I think makes it safe to label as an ultra-like. I also suck at it at the moment, so don't expect to see my grade go higher than a C. Really fun though, it feels great to play and I love the art style. Everything is made from things you can find in an Office Depot. Performance-wise, it was a little hitchy, so hopefully we'll get that cleaned up before launch. Okay, Dungeons of Dusk is not a first-person shooter in the strictest sense, but I can't ignore a spinoff to one of my favorite shooters ever. This is a turn-based dungeon crawler set in between the first and second chapters of Dusk that takes inspiration from the Doom RPG mobile games that I loved back when I was in high school, which wasn't that long ago. This played pretty much exactly as I hoped. You inch along, trade blows with enemies, solve puzzles, and break stuff. It's Doom RPG to a T. Some of the younger crowd might play this and go, what the hell is this? But trust me, you give this game a chance and you'll be hooked to it for hours. Great demo, I'm looking forward to the full release. Steam Next Fest wasn't the only place where we got a peek at some upcoming games. The Imagine Games Network, also known as IGN, held their 7th annual Fan Fest, showcasing a slew of scoops and announcements for upcoming games, television shows, and movies. And there were some sweet FPS nuggets to enjoy from it. Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun 2 showed off a new gameplay trailer, showing off some of the combat from the new Battle Sister character, as well as a peek at the new world gamers will get to rampage through. But unfortunately, there was no release date shown yet. Hopefully that information is coming soon. Psychological horror FPS Flesh and Wire was announced from Postal dev Running with Scissors, that I believe is a Postal spinoff. The game is described to be delving into the psychological roots of the Postal series, and I'm pretty sure that's the Postal dude silhouette in the trailer. Looks pretty awesome though, and it's fun to see Running with Scissors doing something a little different. And a big surprise was the announcement of Sprawl Zero, the sequel, or perhaps prequel, to 2023's Sprawl. This next entry looks to be bringing back the old school aesthetics and wall-running traversal of the first game, but is introducing new psychic mechanics like telekinesis and grabbing bullets from the air and chucking them right back. No release date for this yet, but it is slated to be coming to consoles as well as PC. Now let's head into last month's releases, and quite a packed month it was if I do say so myself. Of course, if there's a release I missed, shout it out in the comments. One-hit elimination arena shooter Repeater bounced out on the 2nd. 2v2 cast-em-up Spellers summoned into early access on the 2nd as well. Ghost Gunners, the multiplayer shooter where everyone is invisible, dropped on the 6th. Dungeon Train, where you play as a security guard trying to save a hijacked train, hijacked Steam on the 7th. Giant mech shooter Meteor Expedition flew into early access on the 7th. Creasel, Theater of Idols, the Spanish horror that takes a page from Resident Evil, bled out on the 10th. Just Another Boomer Shooter got silly on the 12th. Underwater co-op survival horror, The Hole, descended on the 12th. Rogue Point, the cooperative shooter from the makers of Black Mesa, released in early access on the 12th. Hellscreen, the retro shooter with a rear-view mirror, finally left Steam Early Access on February 13th. Retro Souls-like FPS Runeblight released into early access on the 13th. Also on the 13th, Enchain finally swung onto early access. Cute FPS platformer Guabble Gun Range hopped onto Steam on the 13th. High on Life 2 got all irreverent on the 13th. No More Furries waged war on the furries on the 14th. Skydiving FPS Aerial Knights Drop Shot parachuted onto Steam on the 17th. Base building team shooter Euro 3v3 released for free on the 17th. Pixelated zombie survival shooter Revived lurched onto Steam on the 23rd. And finally, an FPS if you want it to be, Resident Evil Requiem shambled onto everything on the 27th. And before we wrap up, let's take a look at the games coming in March. Mark of Cain is bringing pure boom shootery on the 3rd. A game about shooting bullets at bullets is a game about shooting bullets at bullets, and releases on the 3rd. Bungie's original shooter franchise returns. Marathon releases on March 5th. Ooh boy, let's see what happens with this one. Over the Top World War I drops the next day, promising up to 200-player online mayhem on the battlefields of the First Great War. Environmental destruction abounds in Edge of Destruction, coming on the 6th. Old school FPS Soul of Ramit brings the boom on the 7th. Bullet Hell roguelite Galactic Vault launches on the 10th. The Master of Horror is finally throwing his weight into the gaming world when online co-op shooter John Carpenter's Toxic Commando releases on the 12th. Another online co-op shooter drops on the 12th, but with more of a movement focus, Wraithops. Do your part when Starship Troopers Ultimate Bug War releases on the 16th. Low poly extraction looter shooter Deadline Escape lands on the 16th. Tower defense roguelite AIVI blasts out on the 18th. Minimalist movement shooter Poly Impulse maneuvers on the 18th. Inky Blinky Blob has you fighting dangerous failed experiments in a hot air balloon. It releases on March 20th. Gross out shooter Call of Duty squeezes out on the 26th. Online movement shooter The Stickman wall runs onto Steam on March 31st. And that will do it for this State of the Boom. If there's any other news stories or releases not talked about here that you care about, be sure to shout them out in the comments. This last month was a bit packed for me, so there's likely something that snuck by. And be sure to check out my videos from this last month, my preview of Starship Troopers Ultimate Bug War, as well as my 7 best boomer shooters in recent years. See you next month for more State of the Boom. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, subscribe, share, and smack that bell. It's a huge help for the algorithm and getting my videos seen by more people. I'm Kirk, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Stay safe out there.